Well, hello everybody, this is Dear Mama Sal on a drizzly Tuesday morning. Temperature is 7 degrees, and that would translate it to 45 in American. It is rainy, and so I'm going to make sure you all know that sound is not what it sounds like. It is in fact my windshield wipers, so unfortunately there's nothing I seem to be able to do to stop them making that noise. So if you hear it, it's not that I had too many beans last night. Okay, let's make sure we got that one clear. And talking of beans, that is the subject for today, because when I have asked people, both on the broadcast and in my family and friends group, you know, what makes them happy, almost everybody mentioned food. And I didn't get a sense of the fact that it was just any food. There were certain foods that made people really happy. Now, for some of you, it's probably a turkey dinner, because you might associate that with family and friends. Or maybe it's a ham, depending on what your family has done as a tradition when the family gets together. And for others of you, you probably hate turkey for exactly the same reasons. And that is the interesting part about happiness. What makes some people happy, it doesn't make everybody happy. And then there are some of you who can look at a lemon meringue pie and basically, have close to an erotic experience. And then there are others where something as simple, as egg on toast will be their favorite food. And it doesn't really matter what it is, just know what it is. Now, for me, and funny enough, it is also permeated throughout my household. One of our favorites is my 3-cheese macaroni cheese. I don't know why. I mean, why couldn't I have had one of my favorite foods as a spinach salad, for example? No, it just does not do it for me. I must admit, lemon meringue pie used to be my favorite of all time, and I've managed to take a step down from that. Not a long way away from it, but I have taken a step down from that. So, why does food make us happy? And I'd like to say that for the large part, other than some of the chemical reactions to food, but for more probably than we realize, it's our association with that food. Somewhere in the depths of our mind, we associate this food with good times. And so that's why it's a really good idea, in my view, to buy a slightly bigger turkey and to slice it and freeze the slices, and at least every other month have a turkey dinner, because for those people who like turkey dinner, why do we only have it sort of twice a year? Now, I must admit that I am a very frugal turkey eater, in as much as I will not buy a full turkey, because I hate all the hard work of the carcass, right? I don't need to impress anybody anymore about the fact that I can bring out a full bird. Yeah, right, those were the days. So now I like to buy one of those butter balls where all the bones are gone, and you just have the turkey. There's something about that makes life much easier for me. And strangely enough, obviously much easier to cook, but also people really enjoyed it. I was quite surprised. Now for others that I know, it's roast beef and Yorkshire pudding if I'm having to cook that. Not sure why. Maybe because they would never cook it for themselves. But what amazes me is that really very few people cook a full roast. Because of the expense, and as you've heard me say before, I actually think a roast is the most one of the most economical meals there is, if you consider how many people you feed that day, plus how many people you continue to feed afterwards. Now, for some of you, it's probably something really fun, like a banana split or some other incredible dessert, and I'm hoping that you'll let me know what your favorite food is and why it makes you happy. And if you can work out what your association is with it, then do that. I believe that those of us who like to have our ice cream in a wafer cone, and even if we're eating it at home, we will have wafer cones at home. I would obviously be one of those people. Has to do with the kid. Right? My kid likes eating from a wafer cone. Now, it isn't from my youth, because, you know, I don't think we had wafer cones when I was little. Or not that I remember. Anyway, I can only remember having wafer cones as an adult. But there's something about walking around with an ice cream cone in your hand that, you know, suddenly I can't remember ever worrying about the mortgage while I was eating an ice cream cone, or worrying about how I was going to repaint a room while I was holding an ice cream cone. I think also that's one of the reasons why so many people enjoy Halloween. So many adult people enjoy Halloween. So for some people, the traditional food of Halloween, candy, is a very good time of year for them. Now, so far this year, I have done extremely well on that issue. It's getting very close to Halloween now, so I probably will fail miserably. Because I normally do try and make sure we've got candy in the house. So I wonder what it is for you. And as much as we have some foods that make you glad and happy, it would be remiss of me if I didn't also mention that there are foods that make you sad. Now, as somebody mentioned to me not so long ago, and I'm sorry I can't acknowledge who it was because it was a great comment. She said she hated some sort of food because she got sick after eating it. Well, for me it was boiled onions in white sauce. I know it sounds like a really weird dish, but that's what they served at the school that I went to. You all know I went to a boarding school. And there was one thing that they served, boiled onions in white sauce. Now normally I used to love it, but I got a very bad flu soon after eating some of that. And I have to admit that I was unable to eat onions at all for the longest time after that, because what I associated with onion was having a talk to the big white telephone, if I was lucky enough to get that far. And so It is strange how that did not have happiness reaction in my mind at all. So when you look at it, there are certain foods that are just plain comfort foods. Now, one of mine, apparently, from what I can tell, is English custard, Bird's English custard. For those of you who grew up eating custard, you will probably understand why. But if ever I'm feeling, gosh, I could really do with some comfort food, I will go and make myself a bowl of custard. And sometimes I'll throw some fruit into it, but I can quite easily just eat custard on its own. And I feel much better afterwards. I don't know why. Now, admittedly, it's got sugar in it, so probably it gives me a bit of a high, but it just lifts my spirits. Now, for those of you who are big hockey fans or sports fans, I'm quite certain that there are certain absolutely decadent foods that you eat during sports games that are happiness foods. I don't know too many people that have negative connotations around a hamburger or a hot dog. Because most times when people eat a hamburger or a hot dog, they're pretty happy. Now, if you happen to have been homeless in your life or extremely broke in your life, and the only way you could afford meat was to have a hot dog, I can imagine that the connotation would not be one of happiness. So do you understand? It's different things for different people. Now, I don't think in my lifetime, I really don't think in my lifetime, a spinach salad is ever going to do it for me. Now, I know it's not a good thing, and I'm certain there are people out there that genuinely do go, oh, look at that, a spinach salad. Now, the closest I've got is some of the fancy salads that I think A&W or Wendy's, I think, make. Okay, for those of you who study my body language, I have a delightful person driving a Beamer in front of me that could have turned left about 16. Oh, I apologize to the Beamer. There was a bozo in front of the Beamer that I didn't see. Sorry, Beamer. I apologize. I was about to malign you unjustifiably. And I can't see what the car was in front. I was so focused on the Beamer. Anyway, where was I? Food. Glorious food. And the question that I have for some of you, because some of you are cooks as well as, you don't just produce meals, you actually love it. So for those of you who are cooks, I'd like to know whether preparing food is a happiness thing for you. Now, you all know that on a Sunday evening after I finish my Dear Mama Sal broadcast, I always leave that broadcast just about on the dot of 5 because I'm going to put the finishing touches to whatever meal I'm cooking. And I must admit that my family meal, and I call it my family meal, that I have on Sunday evening really makes me happy. This week we're actually going to do a family meal on Saturday. Because Dougie's coming to visit, for those of you who know Dougie. And I'm going to be doing a ham because we haven't had ham in a long time. And we missed Thanksgiving together. The Canadian Thanksgiving has passed already. We missed Thanksgiving, so we're going to sort of make up for that. Now, unfortunately, I cannot coordinate both Yvonne and Dougie in the same day, so we're going to have it on Saturday and then probably again on Sunday. That'd be very clever if I cook enough for 2 days. Yay! I have no problem eating ham 2 nights in a row. Alright, good. So talking of food, as I am, I also wanted to let you know that I have actually put together the instructions on making gravy. Somebody actually asked me if I could show them how I make gravy. Now, I'm actually hesitant to put it up. I haven't edited yet, but I'm hesitant to put it up because I'm certain I don't make it the right way. But then when do I ever do anything the right way, is what you're saying. Okay. So if you have a much better way of making gravy, that's great. People just ask for my way. And that's what I did. And I really don't like to work hard making gravy. But the secret to good gravy, I think, is giving it enough time. Most people try and do it right at the end of a meal. It's the wrong time, I think. I actually like to make my base gravy ahead of time. It's almost one of the first things I cook. And then I add juices to it later. Now, there's a really good reason for that, and that is because it does take more time than most people think. And most people try to hurry it, and that's when they hit problems, and then they don't have time to fix it. So you'll be pleased to know that I intentionally did it not perfectly so that I could show you how to fix it if you mess it up, which I think really is what most people want. Because if you're normal and doing stuff in a hurry, the chances are you're going to have lumpy gravy, and nobody wants lumpy gravy, or very few people I know want to see globs of lumpy gravy coming out of your gravy boat, or however you serve your gravy. By the way, here's a point that for those of you who might want it. For those of you who've got big families and like gravy, one of the problems I always used to hate was the fact that the gravy was cold by the time you got to it, because it's been sitting in a gravy boat trying to get round, 12 people or something. And so what I found works really well when you've got a lot of people and a lot of gravy is use a thermos flask and put the gravy into a thermos flask, and then it stays hot. Now, you probably all know about that one, but I especially have a white thermos flask, especially white because it looks pretty on the table, especially one of those carafe ones, so it's a jug. And by the way, it's great for what's the other thing that you kind to pour? Gravy and sauces. Sometimes some sauces are great in a carafe as well. So, just a thought for those of you who want it. I will be hopefully putting that up. I'm not sure about tonight. I was so tired last night when I put up the vlog. I didn't even get to watch my favorite program because I fell asleep, which was very sad. One of my favorites. So, I'm hoping that I will at least start putting it together for you. This weekend. And I want to thank whoever it was that asked me to do it. I've got a feeling it was Angela, but I could be wrong, because I would never have thought to have done a vlog on gravy. And I just realized that it is probably something that people find difficult. I wonder how many of you, for example, have difficulty with sauces for the same reason. And quite honestly, any of those gravies or sauces, the answer is always the same. Concentrate on the gravy or sauce. Don't try and cook 3 other things at the same time as the gravy or sauce. Most gravies and sauces require a great deal of stirring while they are thickening. And once they're thickened, you can keep them warm for the longest time and they'll be fine. But the trick is to concentrate on them 100% while you're cooking them. That would be my recommendation, and I'll show you that in the video. All right, everybody, thank you so much for listening or watching. It was meant to be a very, very windy night last night, and I can't see that it was. I thought maybe I just, had slept so well that I missed it, but I don't see evidence of a lot of fallen trees or whatever. They did say that we were going to get directly hit by another big storm, and I don't think we were. But we will see. All right. Thank you for watching. Look after one another. For those of you who might not have heard any other way, just to let you know that Paul appears to be doing fine. He should, we'll keep our fingers crossed. He should get the results of his test today. Christine is fine. She's sore but fine. Jennifer, we hope you're doing well. And I know that you're going through a tough time. And to everybody else that I might have missed, and I apologize. I know there are a lot of people who are having some medical issues at the moment, so my thoughts and prayers are with you generally and collectively. And if there's anybody that we don't know about that you think could do with some thoughts and prayers, just make sure you let me know, and I'll get the peeps doing some work on thoughts and prayers for you. This is Dear Mama Sal saying thank you so much for listening and watching. Bye bye for now.